Grizz Nation, it's time to send Ja, Jaren, and Dez to the 2025 All-Star Game.
Oh! What did we just see, partner?
Take three! Take three!
Bane for three. Bingo! Desmond Bane
Heating it up.
blocked by Jaren.
Most versatile power forward in the game today.
Head to NBA.com/vote, the NBA app, or simply use the QR code on the screen to send your Grizzlies to the All-Star Game today.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
On January 20th, join the Memphis Grizzlies as we honor the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This year, we honor those who have carried out his vision with the 20th Annual National Civil Rights Museum Sports Legacy Award. The 23rd Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration Game versus the Minnesota Timberwolves is brought to you by Ford and your Mid-South Ford dealers.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from Midtown Manhattan, New York City. Bennett Doyle, producing the program back in Memphis. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you're ready for Grizz Spurs round 2, because that's tonight down in San Antonio. We're going to get you ready momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. Jessica Benson is the host of the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. That's weekdays, 8 a.m., Grind City Media. She joins me on Fridays in the second segment. We tried to speed it up a little bit today. I got a flight to catch. I got to get home. Going to try to get to JB early. She's going to join me in the next segment. Finish talking to her, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Penny Hardaway's Tigers played some Owls last night. You know how that usually goes. Final score, Temple 88, Memphis 81. We'll talk about a disappointing league loss. We'll do it in about 40 minutes. 2 future Pac-12 members played a thriller last night on CBS Sports Network. I was in studio till 2 a.m. Long night, but a fun game, and perhaps a glimpse into the University of Memphis's future. We'll spend a few minutes on Oregon State's upset of Gonzaga. We're going to do that a little later on in the show. We have some additional details for Fire Aid, that benefit concert I told you about earlier in the week. It's scheduled for later this month. Big lineup. I'll run you through it. We'll do that in the third segment. The Genesis Invitational, which is a signature event on the PGA Tour, hosted annually by Tiger Woods, is going to have to move next month because of the fires in Southern California. That development is going to snap a long streak connected to Riviera Country Club, which is located in Pacific Palisades. I'll tell you more about that situation. We'll do it a little later on in the show. And Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and John Voight are going to be named special ambassadors to Hollywood by the next president of the United States. Sometimes Bennett sends me these stories, and I don't even know if they're real or not. I have to, double check them. But it's true. Apparently, And at least Mel Gibson was just as surprised as the rest of us to hear the news. I'll give you his quote during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's carry out, and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies because game 42 of a scheduled 82, that's set for tonight in San Antonio. It's going to tip in about 10.5 hours. Grizz Spurs inside the Frosty Bank. Tip is going to be set for a little after 8:30. Big stage considering it's a part of a ESPN doubleheader. Game 1, 6 o'clock, Magic at Celtics. Game 2, 8:30, Grizzlies at Spurs. Big Ben Bennett, I know how much you love Friday night road games.
Yeah.
How you feeling in advance of this Friday night road game against Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs?
I mean, I'll be feeling a lot better if Ja Morant plays.
His foot's sore.
His foot is sore. I mean, dude, it's going to be – I told you, like, I don't like these back-to-back. I know you and Vernon like them. I don't like these back-to-backs against the same teams because – yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I recognized the other day, it felt like we were picking on you because you were like, I don't like this stuff. And me and Vernon were like, we love this. We can't get enough of it. I felt like we were teaming up on you, but that wasn't intentional.
No, but this is why, is because now it's Friday night in San Antonio. You just beat them. Wembanyama had a bad game. And so, even though it didn't look like a bad game in the box score, it was a bad game by his standards. And so now they're going to be fired up, really wanting to get one against you. So the Grizzlies are going to have to bring their best effort tonight if they want to get this win.
I ain't worried about nobody being fired up wanting to get one. You know what I do when somebody else is fired up wanting to get one? You know what I do, Bennett? I get fired up and I want to get one.
Well, I hope the Grizzlies feel the same way because it'd be nice. Like, you got a nice homestand coming up next week with a bunch of winnable games, starting with the MLK Day game on Monday. And so you want some good momentum coming into that home stretch next week. But again, I think it's going to be tough tonight. This is a team that I think we all agree is worse than you. Evidence being they're way lower than you in the standings. But this is going to be tough tonight. I don't think it's going to be easy at all.
Look at me. You think I'm scared of a franchise that says, hey, we're fired up. We want to get one tonight. Yeah, well, guess what? I'm fired up too. I'm fired up, and I want to get one tonight. All right? So I'll match whatever level of fired up you bring into the arena, to Frosty Bank. I'll bring the same level of fired up.
I'm just preparing everyone. I'm just preparing everyone. That's all I'm doing. I don't want a loss to the Spurs on a Friday night in San Antonio because listen, we talked about how people are starting to live and die with every one of these games. I don't want everything to come crashing down if they lose tonight. It ain't gonna be that bad, okay?
Oh, man, everything can crash down if it wants to. I won't even know until, like, Sunday night when I start prepping. Buddy, there ain't nothing I can clock out of quicker than stupid Twitter. Yeah. I promise you. I'm fired up. I know the Spurs are fired up, but I'm fired up, too. I know the Spurs are fired up and they want to get one, but I'm also fired up and I'd like to get one. Wemby and the Spurs on ESPN tonight. But if we're being honest, I don't know if we're fired up as much as we could be because at 5:01 p.m. Central yesterday at Grizzlies PR was up to its old tricks again.
Yeah.
Oh, they were up to their old tricks again.
Mm-hmm.
That train's never late. Right there at the top of it, under the word questionable, Ja Morant. 2 nights after dunking on Wemby, whether it counted or not, Ja Morant is now questionable against the Spurs with right foot soreness. Ja's foot sore, you know. Feet get sore sometimes.
Yeah.
Feet get sore sometimes. Ja's foot is reportedly sore. Are you concerned? Put a number on it between 1 and let's make it fun. Put a number between 1 and 7. Between 1 and on a scale, nobody ever puts you on a scale of 1 to 7, do they?
No, they don't. I'll sit at, if it's between 1 and 7, I'll go 4. Like, am I concerned?
Well, I'm lower.
I don't think I'm that concerned about him having like a major injury or anything like that. I would say my level of concern comes from I just want to see him play multiple games in a row. Like I think we're past the halfway point now in the season. It would be nice to see Ja play a long stretch of games. Like I think I'm speaking for everybody when I say that, right? Like, you know,
you're speaking for everybody for like multiple years now. Yes, we'd all love that.
Yeah, so that would be my level of concern. Like, am I worried about? I think I would hope that Ja's fine and is going to be fine. I hope that foot's okay. but I just want to see him play. I'd love to see him get through, a 6-game stretch of games, right?
I fear you don't understand exactly how scales work.
What do you mean? That's what the 4 was. 4 is kind of right there in the movie. We said 7. 4 is like, I'm kind of concerned. Yeah.
Okay. 4 is not kind of concerned. 4 is not right in the middle. Neither one of those things are true. I think you were still. I think your head's still on a scale of 1 to 10.
I'm on 10. Who does 7? That's insane. You messed this up.
You got to spice it up sometimes, Bennett. You just can't keep giving people scales of 1 to 10 your whole life. Every once in a while, you got to spice it up, or you're gonna get bored. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. Okay, so then put me at a 3. Put me at a 3.
That's more like it. See,
Yeah.
I think your headspace was on a scale of 1 to 10 because that's what you're used to. But I specifically put you on a scale of 1 to 7, and on a scale of 1 to 7, I think I'd be down to a 2.
Okay.
And let me tell you why. I got 2 reasons why. It's not doubtful. It's questionable. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and secondly, the number hasn't moved at all. The Grizzlies opened at -2.5, and it's just been sitting there the whole time at -2.5.
Okay.
Plus, it's ESPN. Plus, it's Wemby again.
Yeah.
Plus, it's 2 nights after you were the A block on SportsCenter. Mike Elise was telling anybody who would listen, your dunk did not count. If you're Ja Morant, I don't doubt for a second that his foot's sore, but I bet he tries to go, and I will be surprised. Having not seen Ja Morant's foot nor talked to him about it, from a hotel room in New York City, I'd be surprised if Ja Morant doesn't play basketball tonight.
I think I would be surprised too. I forgot that it's a national TV game tonight too. Yeah.
You know what else you forgot? How to properly recalibrate for a scale of 1 to 7.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I would think that. I would think that if Adam Silver saw that injury report, he'd probably making a call saying, "Hey, if he's good, let's try to get him out there."
As frustrated as we get for injury reports, right. Imagine Adam Silver.
Friday night, Ja versus Wemby. Ja's questionable. Yeah, that's probably not a good day at the office. Yeah,
we only get frustrated by one injury report. Adam Silver got to look at 30 every day, and you could just see him going, "Oh God, again." I got every idiot with a basketball podcast talking about get LeBron and Steph off of ESPN and focus on Ja and Wemby. And we try to do it, and now his foot's sore.
Yeah.
I bet Adam Silver gets frustrated. Yeah. I bet he drinks sometime late at night.
I bet he has never had a sip of alcohol.
Are you betting on Adam Silver never having a drink of alcohol?
He doesn't seem like a drinker to me.
Oh, I think if you're running the NBA, I think you'd have to be a drinker. Okay. You want to try to do that sober? Would you try to run the NBA sober? I wouldn't.
Oh, maybe not. When you put it that way.
Got Jimmy Butler trying to quit his team.
That's true. That's true. You might need a stiff drink every now and again. Yeah, that's fair.
Your whole league's built around a 40-year-old.
Oh, damn.
You try to run the NBA sober. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. My level of concern on a scale of 1 to 7 is 2. I think Ja Morant's in uniform tonight. I think his foot's sore, but not so sore where he won't try to punch one on Wemby again if presented with the opportunity. Jessica Benson's the host of the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurd. I'll put her on a scale of 1 to 7. Okay. We'll do that next. Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans. One exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Gary Parrish Show presented by Ortho South. I'm in New York City. Bennett Doyle back inside the Bill Ford Tough studio. FedEx Forum downtown Memphis. And he's joined in that studio right now by the host of the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurd. It's the great Jessica Benson. Hey, Jessica Benson, it's GP.
Hi,
How you
GP.
doing?
I'm doing great.
Hey.
I really loved your dance that nobody saw during the intro music there.
I'm so delirious. I don't even sleep
I was about
anymore.
to say.
What is sleep?
He doesn't know where he is.
I can remember being in college one time, and I was like, I parked my car, and I was walking into the building, and I just recognized that I was talking to myself. I had not slept, and I was like, this is what being delirious is. I'm just talking to myself, and I feel a little bit like that right now. Hey, I want to set the record straight. Chet's mind is in the gutter in a terrible place. As we were going to break, in the previous segment, I asked Bennett for his level of concern about Ja's sore foot on a scale of 1 to 7. I'm bored with scales of 1 to 10. Everybody does that. I want to spice it up a little bit. So I now want to grade people on a scale of 1 to 7. Okay.
Cool.
So I was like, going into break, you know, this is what they call a tease in our business.
Yes.
Going into break, I was like, and I'll put JB on a scale of 1 to 7, and I didn't mean I'm actually going to put my.
Who are you, early
Wow.
Mark? God, now Mark Zuckerberg is ruining everything again. God, men out here trying to rate women on a scale, not even giving us the chance to be a 10, just straight to 1 to 7. It's like we're just starting low. We're starting. C's get degrees. The best you can be.
The very best you could be in my world is a 7.
Tough.
All right.
That's tough.
The very best you could be is a 7. Of course, I'm not going to put my coworker on a scale of 1 to 7. I wouldn't do that at all. I got caught with one of these last night too in studio. Like I'm actually like just speaking innocently, and people sort of look at me sideways, and I have to clarify. So we've got a new person who works with us in studio, Ice Young, former basketball player at Syracuse. Incredible talent, wonderful woman. She's going to be great. So we're sitting in studio. She already is great. So we're sitting in studio a couple of nights ago, and I think I was going to say my friend. I think it's your friend too, Brenna Green. You know Brenna, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I'm sitting in studio because Brenna's out in, Portland.
Yeah.
She's up at 2:00 in the morning on the East Coast. So she was watching the show, and she said, "Who is the woman in studio with you?" I said, "That's Ice Young. She's great." She's like, "She really is great." And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I'm gonna pass that message along, and maybe I'll connect you guys too, and whatever." And so last night, Ice is in, and we're all just sort of hanging out in the bullpen with all the researchers and production assistants and runners and directors and producers and the whole deal. And I said, "Hey, Ice. Oh, by the way, last night I wanted to tell you, sort of like announce it to the room. I was like, Ice, I wanted to last night, we're sitting in studio, we're doing what we do. I got a really nice text message from a friend of mine. They were like, who's the woman in studio with you?" And I was like, "That's Ice Young." And they were like, "Oh man, she's great." And everybody sort of looked at me like, What are you doing?
Why are you telling us the story about your creepy friend who texted asking who this woman was?
And then I recognized what was happening.
And
I
you
was
clarified.
Like, it was a woman who works in the industry who wasn't trying to be a creep, but who was really impressed by the performance ICE was providing on the desk. But it was like, do you guys really think I'm just sitting around getting text messages from like Roser? Like,
you might seem like that. Don't not drag Roser into this.
I didn't mean to drag Roser into this.
I think we need to send you back. Did you go to the sensitivity training?
I'm not sure.
I didn't, so I can't really.
I did, by the way. I did. And
congratulations.
I think I aced it. I don't want to brag, but I don't want to brag, but I think I aced it.
I think maybe you need like a refresh course on how to talk about women in the workplace.
But here's the thing. I could have kept that to myself, but what I was actually
you were trying to give a compliment that, hey, you were doing so well. Of course, once you explain the intentions.
As a veteran of television, what I was trying to do is pass along nice words
compliment
to a young woman entering the world of television and say, hey, I know you might be uncertain of yourself and uneasy. I remember when I was
last night.
I remember when I was, but just know that you're making an impression. Here is another young woman who works in the industry. She was just watching the show and was impressed by that's really all I was trying to do is make somebody feel good. And instead it got turned into this weird thing and I had to clarify for the room.
So to clarify, on a scale of 1 to 7.
On a scale of 1 to 7, I want you to rate Ice Young. No,
haven't watched yet. Haven't watched yet. But now I'm curious. Now I feel like I've got to watch.
On a scale, she is great. On a scale of 1 to 7, and I was just trying to make it was just GP being GP.
Oh, just weirdo Gary.
It was just GP being GP, just walking around trying to make people feel good with compliments. That's all I was doing.
That's okay.
You know how much I go out of my way to make people feel good all the time, right?
Number one complimenter. And what I hear most in these buildings' walls, they're like, it's crazy. Every time I run into GP, he's just handing out compliments left and right, talking to everyone. Most engaged employee, Gary Parrish.
Most engaged employee.
As he sits in a hotel room in New York City with his backdrop.
And have been to one team meeting, I think, in my entire career. Most engaged employee.
Yeah.
I was just trying to hand out compliments, and I got twisted into. But we clarified. It turned into a funny moment once I was able to clarify. But for a millisecond, it felt weird. Here's my question for you: on a scale of 1 to 7, and you need to recalibrate. Bennett did not properly recalibrate from a scale of 1 to 10. He tried to answer as if I asked him on a scale of 1 to 10, and it got all mixed up. Recalibrate right now if you need to. You're a USC grad, so this should be easier for you than it was for him. Recalibrate to a scale of 1 to 7. What is your level of concern with Ja Morant's foot?
So we're like the 7 stays the same, even though like the 7 does not magically become a 10 in this new ranking system. It's a 1 to 7. The 7 should feel the same as a 7. We're just saying 1 to 7 where the 7 caps out.
No, the 7 should feel like a 10.
The 7 should feel like a 10. Okay.
Yeah, this would be like I don't know. Who's the it girl now? Is it still Sydney Sweeney?
No, now we're back, Garrett. We need to go back to the sensitivity training. We don't need to compare it to a woman. We can, if we're going to do that, we can compare it to
Austin Butler. Okay, you ready?
Glenn Powell.
Jeremy Allen White, Glenn Powell, Andrew Garfield, Paul Mescal.
Oh, you're telling on yourself.
Michael B. Jordan.
You're telling on yourself.
Jonathan Bailey, but he doesn't like girls like me.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 7, Michael B. Jordan would be a 7. That's what I mean.
Factual.
That's what I mean. On a scale of 1 to 10, he'd be a 10. On a scale of 1 to 40, he'd be a 40.
This is the feeling on.
Think on a scale of 1 to Michael B. Jordan, what is your level of concern? Would Michael B. Jordan represent a 7? Here's the question.
God, just ask the question.
Let's start over right here. On a scale of 1 to 7, when Michael B. Jordan represents a 7, what is your level of concern with Ja Morant's foot? That's the question.
A 2.
That same thing. We had the same answer.
Okay,
and I didn't even go to USC. I had the same answer.
That's on Common Core. We're all just getting the same education here, you know? Who cares?
I think so.
What books? What curriculum? What department of education? We're all one figuring out it's a 2 on a scale of concern. I'm not concerned at all. I feel like, we've seen so many different soreness designations, and sometimes you got a sore foot. Happens to the best of us. Ever since, sometimes my heel just hurt. Now, if it's a sore heel, it's a different story. I learned a sore heel can be a bad precursor to some things that happen in the calf and the lower portion of the leg. But we're not talking about a sore heel. We're talking about a sore foot. And maybe he came down extra hard on that vicious dunk on Victor Wembanyama. But regardless, I bet Ja plays tonight. Like, I think this is, unfortunately, he's listed on the injury report, so it becomes a part of the conversation. I bet he plays tonight, and we're not talking about this in a week. Or I at least sure hope so.
Yeah, I put my level of concern on a scale of 1 to 7 also at 2 for the exact same reasons. A, he didn't seem bothered 2 nights ago. B, it's not that he's listed as doubtful or out. No. It's just questionable. And C, the point spread has not moved at all. It's just sitting there at 2.5. And that suggests to me that somebody somewhere thinks Ja Morant is probably playing. Great. Plus, it's a big stage, ESPN. You wouldn't want to. 2 nights after you were the biggest story in sports, and then 2 nights after, my friend Michael Eaves, I can't wait to talk to him about this on Monday. My friend Michael Eaves tried to tell the whole world Ja Morant didn't really dunk on Victor Wembanyama.
Bold.
What you saw. Don't believe your eyes. Don't believe what you just saw.
Not even what you saw. Don't believe what you felt. Don't believe what that play made you feel. Walk it back and say, you didn't actually feel that. Gaslight the hell out of yourself and say, that wasn't fun. That wasn't special.
Here's the thing. I'm a great representation of this. I sit in studio. I'm like on desk, on set, talking on whatever. And so I didn't see it live. The first time I saw it was on my phone without sound, without context. I didn't know the whistle blew. I didn't know it didn't count. I just saw what I saw. I just felt what I felt. Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 7, it was a 7. 7.
It was a 10. I hate when people do that. Like, scale 1 to 100. Oh, I'm at a 110. I'm going to give it 110%. No, percentages are out of 100. Percentages are out of 100.
When somebody tells me they want to give me 110%,
I'm going to put this in their eye.
No, right there. In the side of the
right in the carotid or artery.
I think that's where you're supposed to do it, right?
Yeah, I think that's the quickest.
If you ever wanted to really do somebody in with a pin, I think it's right there, right?
I'm watching a great show where they're like planning a death and like all the ways that you could kill somebody and not get caught because they don't want to get caught. They're smart. These are smart killers. It's called Bad Sisters. It's on Apple TV. All the best shows are on Apple TV. I don't know if you know that. Severance season 2 started last night. Oof.
On a scale of 1 to 7, rate Severance.
7.
On a scale of 1 to 7, rate Severance season 2 if you've seen it yet.
I'd say it was like a solid 6 premiere.
Okay.
Yeah, it pulled me right back in. Now, I don't know if that's also because I watched 3 season 1 recaps to prepare me. Because season 1 was like 3 years ago.
Do I need to do that? Because season 1 was like 3 years ago. And I don't even remember being comfortable when I was watching it. I don't remember feeling like I understood what was happening while I was actually watching it. So I haven't watched it in years. I bet you ain't got a clue what's going on.
Yeah, I forgot 90% of the things that popped up in the recap. You remember the end, and it's like a fantastic twist of an end to a season. But there's a lot that led us to that end that I would have had no recollection. But hey, Apple TV, the best shows that you've never heard of. But I wonder if that's a part of their marketing campaign, because now we're all talking about Apple TV having the best shows you've never heard of.
What is funny, like when it comes to streaming services, everybody, holds up Netflix as the standard, Hulu, and outside of that, everybody else just gets made fun of. Like people joke about Paramount Plus and people joke about Peacock. Like Nikki Glaser at the Golden Globes, she was like, and so-and-so has got a show on Peacock. I think I've actually seen more Peacocks than I have seen shows on Peacock.
Yes.
And then it was like in Paramount Plus, if you're watching on Paramount Plus, just know you got 6 more days to cancel your free trial. They all get joked about, Apple TV Plus too, but every one of them does have like something that I have found interesting at some point.
Oh, of course. But I think Apple TV has a real chance right now there has always been an added weight to HBO, now Max. And ever since the whatever the merger or the transition to Max taking away just from the HBO brand, the tie-in with TNT, TBS, Warner Brothers as a whole, there's room for something else to catch up to the prestige TV that Max has provided for so long. And I think Apple TV is the closest thing we have to that. They are churning out really like elevated programming, be it Shrinking or I've heard Slow Horses is phenomenal. Silo is supposed to be so good. And this Bad Sisters show, I'm telling you, it's tremendous. I need people to watch Bad Sisters because I need somebody to talk about it with right now.
Okay, I'm going to add it to the list. On a scale of 1 to 7.
But they're trying to figure out if they could stab someone. That's how I got there. In the little artery right there. It's quick.
Well, I hope they get their homework done before they set out to on their task, because like Luigi playing too, but it took him like 3 days to catch that guy. So, it's tough out there. It's hard out there. On a scale of 1 to 7, I enjoyed Severance at a 7. On a scale of 1 to 7, I understood Severance at like a 2.
Oh, a 2. I'd put it at a 5. And I think that's the problem with the premiere because you have even less context of where it's going. It's very Westworld in that way. And that's why I'm hopeful that season 2 does not suffer the similar fate that Westworld had, where it got so convoluted that there was no point in continuing with Westworld.
Westworld is exactly what I hope this doesn't become because I started Westworld because it was HBO, because I assumed it would be good. I watched it because it was compelling and interesting and neat to look at. And after a while, I said, I don't want to think this much while I'm watching television.
My brain hurts. This is a painful experience.
Like I have to watch it and then read and then go to Reddit and then I just don't have time. I can't spend this much time. Just put on the Righteous Gemstones and make me laugh, man. I can't.
Righteous Gemstones.
It's coming back. Don't worry about it. It's coming back. I can't. I've reached a point in my life. I got too much stuff to think about. I can't be consumed.
I know, but the critics say season 2 of Severance does not suffer the same fate of Westworld. So they're calling it a special season of television, Gary. Special season. When was the last special season of television we had? It's been a second.
I think the last season of Righteous Gemstones, probably.
That was a good one.
They're all good.
I think Hacks. I consider Hacks a special season of television, actually.
Hacks was great. I love it. It was nice to see them win awards on CBS, America's Most Watched Network.
Of course.
Earlier,
but not on Paramount Plus.
Everybody's doing the best they can, right?
Yes.
Last thing before I let you go.
Oh, good.
It's an NFL question.
Okay.
The Texans are in Kansas City.
I
saw Travis Kelce talking about this the other day. He was on his podcast, and I think the king, America's King, LeBron James, was his guest. And it was a very small thing. I'm not trying to make it a big thing. It's just something I noticed. They're talking about retirement and when you know whether to hang it up, and is Taylor putting any pressure on you? And Travis Kelce said, I'm just not even really thinking about any of that stuff. Taylor is supportive. She wants me to chase my dreams just like I want her to chase her dreams, whatever those dreams are. And but for now, I just got 2 more games at Arrowhead, and that's all I'm focused on. Like, it was just like, we got 2 more games at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Like, not even acknowledging that there's a chance you might not have 2 more games at Arrowhead. You could lose to the Texans this weekend, and your season is over, and then we're asking all these big questions again. Are the Chiefs looking past the Texans? Is this a danger spot for the reigning Super Bowl champs? On a scale of 1 to 7, where would you put the level of concern for the Chiefs against the Texans?
Concern for the Chiefs, I would put it right at like a 3.5. I'd put it right in the middle. I think we've become so accustomed to seeing the Chiefs, even in a season where their scoring differential is a whole 62 points worse than any other 15-win team in NFL history. That's the Chiefs. This year's Chiefs team. They didn't win games by a lot, but they just figured out a way to eke them out there at the end time and time again. But we've seen them win 2 straight Super Bowls. We've seen them do this. And so until they stumble and they're actually not advancing, it's hard for me to not believe that they will beat the Texans of the AFC South. And I do think it really comes down to how you evaluate last week's win for the Texans. Like, was that a Texans team that is somehow becoming less fraudulent than perhaps they were at various points of the season? Or was it just the Chargers not quite yet being ready and a really, really bad game for Justin Herbert. And I think it might lend closer to that. The Texans' defense is legit. Their offensive line has been sketchy all season. What is C.J. Stroud coming up this weekend will really answer the question of if the Texans can hang with the Chiefs. But that's not the upset that if I had to pick one upset, I'm not picking the Texans to beat the Chiefs this weekend.
Texans, Chiefs, 3:30 Central on the Saturday. That's tomorrow. ESPN, ABC,
Yay.
ESPN Plus. That's where you'll be able to watch it. The Chiefs are listed right now as 8-point favorites in Arrowhead. Could be the last game.
It could be.
Travis Kelce
Is Taylor
in
going to be
Arrowhead.
there?
Oh, I would think so.
Yeah, I would assume so. Have you gone to the Corner Store yet?
The Corner Store.
Yeah, it's a restaurant in New York where Taylor and Travis went, and now you cannot get a reservation. You should try as a party of one. I know you don't go out and eat in New York. I know I know you don't like to leave, but because you spend so much time there, one day if you can, as a party of one, I feel like it would be the easiest chance for you. You should show up and try to get a table at the bar.
That is something I would do.
Yes.
I have done that before. I believe it would also involve Taylor Swift. You could Google this, Taylor Swift and Kanye West, after the whole VMAs thing, years after that, when they were trying to be cool with each other, and then that blew up. You know how that went. But they had a moment where they were trying to be cool with each other, and they went and had lunch or dinner at a place down in Lower Manhattan. Maybe in the Village, called the Spotted Pig. I think it was called the Spotted Pig. And in the article about this, it was like known for its amazing hamburger. And I was like, man, I love amazing hamburgers. I love amazing cheeseburgers. I'm going to go to the Spotted Pig. And I went there, and it was like not great. It was not a great hamburger, and I think it's closed now.
Hey, let me sell this one to you then. I think the Spotted Pig is still open. Funny enough, one of my friends just posted, she's trying the whole influencer thing, and she posted like 10 of her favorite spots in New York, and the Spotted Pig was still on it, and I remember feeling surprised that it was.
It wasn't one of my favorite places.
Corner Store.
But it does exist.
Has a sour cream and onion martini that is supposed to be incredible.
Sick.
And it comes with a sour cream and onion chip. They have pizza rolls that are supposed to be incredible. I love all these things.
Good.
They have like a elevated French dip, like a little prime rib sandwich, supposed to be incredible. A spinach and artichoke dip. That sounds excellent. And a Caesar salad made with everything but the bagel croutons. Why, you ask, Jessica, do you know so much about this menu? Because I tried to get into it every single day we were in New York, and I never got us off the wait list. But I think you can live this best life and go to the Corner Store.
I'll do it before the end of the month. Yeah. You're right. I don't really do much while I'm here. Except,
you still haven't gone and seen a Broadway musical.
No, but I'm making plans. I am making some plans.
Which one? Text me.
I didn't say I've made plans. I said I'm in the process of making plans. But I did have a moment like Sunday. I was just here, and I didn't have to go in studio. And I was like, I just need to go sit somewhere other than this room and have like a proper meal. And so I don't know what was going on, but I had an urge for meatloaf. I decided I wanted meatloaf. So I just started Googling, how do you feel about meatloaf? On a scale of 1 to 7, rank meatloaf.
Shockingly, like a 6.5.
It's great.
But I'm not actively seeking meatloaf on the regular. Like that's not something I need in my usual diet. But a good piece of meatloaf gets me excited. Like that sounds good. If anyone has a meatloaf recommendation in Memphis, please let me know, and I will go eat meatloaf this weekend now because you brought it up.
There's a place down by my house in Mississippi called Sebo. I know. I'm not asking you to come down to Hernando, but there's a place they make a meatloaf sandwich, buddy. I enjoy a nice meatloaf sandwich with a little pasta salad. That's a nice lunch for me every once in a while. So I don't know why I had an urge for meatloaf. I don't eat it that often, but I was like, you know what? If there's a nice meatloaf around Midtown Manhattan, I'm gonna go find it. I found one over on 10th Ave, farm to table, straight to farm to table, little restaurant in New York. Yeah. And they had it was I want to say it was called the Marshall, maybe, world famous meatloaf. I said, okay, it's not only is it good, it's world famous meatloaf. Odd that I had never heard of it, even though it's world famous. Like World's Famous Arena right down the street, I've heard of that. World's Famous Meatloaf, I had not heard of this yet. But I decided, I walked there, I sat down. It had like a blue cheese thing in the middle of the meatloaf.
Ruined it. No.
Then you should order it without the blue cheese. Okay. I enjoyed it. On a scale of 1 to 7, I would put this world famous meatloaf at like a I don't mean to copy you, but 6.5. It was a very good, enjoyable meatloaf.
Like not perfect, but a really good meatloaf.
Not perfect, but a really good
When
meatloaf.
When you ordered it, did you say, "Ma, the meatloaf"?
No, but other people do that.
Yeah.
Everybody else I've told this story to does this.
God, now I feel so basic. She's
Well, I
so
didn't mean to
basic.
make-
It was kind of
I
lame.
didn't make you-
It was kind of lame.
I didn't mean to make you feel basic. I'll turn myself into HR for inadvertently making
Yeah, you made
feel
Ice
basic.
feel special, and you made me feel basic today. So thanks a lot, Gary.
I'm gonna, you know what? Somebody out there text me and tell me that Jess was just amazing in this spot on the Gary Parrish show.
Hey, Brenna Green, can you please text Gary?
Send me a text, compliment Jess. I'll pass it along.
Thank you.
And we'll be, everything balances out in the long run. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you again on Monday.
I hope your weekend is a 7 on a scale of 1 to 7.
I hope
See
yours
you
is
Monday.
a 8 on a scale of 1 to
Thank
7.
you.
I hope it's an 8. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's Jessica Benson, host of the Jessica Benson Show, CJ Hurd. She'll be back in studio on Monday. When we come back, turning our attention, I put it off as long as I could, Bennett. I put it off as long as I could. But Penny Hardaway's Tigers went to Temple last night. They played some Owls. You know how that usually goes. Disappointing loss. How disappointing? We'll talk about it next. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
This team is doing everything that Taylor Jenkins and his coaching staff envisioned it could do.
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Grizz Nation, it's time to send Ja, Sharon, and Dez to the 2025 All-Star Game.
Oh! What did we just see, partner? Take 3! Take 3!
Bain for 3. Bingo! Desmond Bain heating it up. Blocked by Sharon.
Most versatile power forward in the game today.
Head to NBA.com/vote, the NBA app, or simply use the QR code on the screen to send your Grizzlies to the All-Star Game today.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Durant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing at FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
On January 20th, join the Memphis Grizzlies as we honor the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This year, we honor those who have carried out his vision with the 20th Annual National Civil Rights Museum Sports Legacy Award. The 23rd Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration Game versus the Minnesota Timberwolves is brought to you by Ford and your Mid-South Ford dealers.
It's your turn to drive into luxury at Southland Casino Hotel. Join us on Saturdays to win your share of up to $1 million in free play and prizes. And don't miss the chance to take home luxury itself during the grand finale drawings. Drive off in a 2025 Land Rover on February 1st or a 2025 Range Rover on March 1st. 2 vehicles, 2 finales, 1 million ways to enjoy luxury only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either, and that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays, in the evenings, and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's orthosouth at orthosouth.org. Now, I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Penny Hardaway's Tigers went to Philadelphia last night. They played some Owls. You know how that usually goes. Final score, Temple 88, Memphis 81. So the Tigers are now 2-3 against Owls over the past 2 seasons. Our nightmare continues.
Yeah.
Big Bet Bennett, disappointing loss on the road. On a scale of 1 to 7, how disappointed were you in your home last night watching that nonsense?
1 to 7. I put that one at about a 5.
I think that's a reasonable number.
I put that one at about a 5. I'm not like, I don't think by any means it's like a season-wrecking loss. It's a quad 2 loss, right, on the road. So
that's right.
It doesn't hurt you tremendously. I think just like I heard CJ say this on their show this morning, and it did make me be like, oh God. It was literally this time last year that everything fell apart. Like literally almost exactly to the date when everything just fell apart and they lost 4 in a row in conference and the season was completely wrecked at that point. I don't think that will happen this season, but I do think taking that loss last night makes Sunday's game at Charlotte just so much. Like, you can't lose that game. I mean, that's a terrible team you're playing on Sunday. You lose that one, that's 2 straight losses in a bad conference. Then we're talking about, oh boy, is this thing about to take a really bad turn. Here, again, they didn't play well last night. Like, the rebounding was horrible last night. PJ Haggerty missed a bunch of free throws down the stretch, which I think that's just it's part of the Memphis curse, but it's also probably just an anomaly. Like, he's been a good free throw shooter. So, disappointing, but I'm not like in panic mode by any means right now.
I totally get why Memphis fans are like, oh my God, or is this a here we go again thing? Because it's a lot like every time a Grizzly rolls an ankle or Ja's foot sore.
Here we go.
Grizzlies fans are like, here we go again, right? It's PTSD. I don't know if it's like the textbook definition of it. Y'all can look it up on your own, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
It's PTSD. If you're a Grizzlies fan, every time somebody gets hurt, oh my God, here we go again. Even we have fun with it. If you're a Tigers fan, every time you got free throw issues, it's here we go again. And more recently, when you start losing AAC games that you're supposed to win after winning non-league games that you weren't supposed to win, people wonder, are you going to spiral the way you did last season? Because just to put some specifics on it, on January 10th last season, they were ranked in the top 10 in the AP poll, and from there, they just lost again and again and again and again. And by the time the season was over, they weren't sniffing the NCAA tournament. Penny Hardaway was asked about this last night, and evidence that this is still something that is on the minds of Tiger fans and Tiger beat writers is that Penny Hardaway was asked about it last night. I bet you, even though Michigan is also a nationally ranked team that lost a road game to an unranked team last night, I bet you Dusty May was not asked if he was concerned if this is, deja vu all over again. And even though Gonzaga, and we'll get to this next, lost a road game to an unranked team last night while the Zags were ranked 16th in the country, I bet you Mark Few wasn't asked if he's concerned if this is, deja vu all over again. But Penny Hardaway had to answer that question because Memphis fans dealt with what Memphis fans had to deal with just last season. It was perhaps among notable teams the biggest collapse in the country. When Penny was asked about it last night, you know what he said? I'm not worried yet. And I would agree with it. I would co-sign that. I would retweet that. I'm not worried yet. As someone who wants Memphis basketball to be good and get a high seed in the NCAA tournament and advance deep in the bracket, and man, wouldn't it be something if they won the whole thing? I'm not worried yet either. I think they'll be fine. I did not drop Memphis very far in the top 25-1. I had Memphis 14th on Thursday morning. I've got the Tigers 17th right now. Again, there were 3 ranked teams that played basketball games last night. All 3 of them played unranked teams on the road. All 3 of them lost. This wasn't just a Memphis thing last night. It was also a Gonzaga thing. It was also a Michigan thing. And Memphis, even with last night's loss, because like you accurately pointed out, it was quad 2, Memphis is 5-2 in quadrant 1, 4-1 quadrant 2, 9-3 in the first 2 quadrants. They've still got the quadrant 3 loss to Arkansas State. That's always going to be there to bother you, but that's still a totally rankable body of work. I know these losses feel big, And they are on some level, particularly if they pile up. But the deeper you get into a season, these things matter less because there are more data points. You know, there's like last night was just one data point in a 17-game season. If one data point in a 4-game season, in an 8-game season, matters more than it matters now. So a loss like this a month ago might have dropped you more significantly. But based on the way I do it, at least, I didn't drop Memphis very far at all, and I think Memphis only dropped a handful of spots in the net as well. I've got Memphis 14th in the top 25 and 1 yesterday, 17th in the top 25 and 1 today.
You know, one thing that I want to see on Sunday at Charlotte, if there is any real concern, because they can still put up points. I mean, they scored in the 80s last night again in the loss, and they didn't even play that well. I would like again, you're playing a bad team on Sunday on the road. Like, let's see that defensive intensity come back for them. Like, let's get the rebounding numbers back up, block shots, steals. Like, that's what I want to see, because that's kind of been the identity of this team a little bit. Like, they were a good defensive team earlier on in the season. I want to see that, because that, you know, you could, in theory, probably beat that team. Even if you had a bad offensive game, just show that defense that you did in parts of this season, and you should still be able to get a win on Sunday.
I think they'll bounce back, win on Sunday, remain in the AP poll on Monday. I think last night felt bad and disappointing. A, because it was bad and disappointing, but B, because this is a fan base that was just sitting around waiting on something to feel bad and disappointing. Like, because it's never too far away. It's always right around the corner. At least it feels that way.
That's right.
And last night was the latest example of that. So I get the reaction. I'll side with Penny here. He said he's not worried yet. I'm also not worried yet. But these numbers are weird. I looked it up last night and then double-checked it. Just because I bet you cannot find another team in the country whose records under the set of circumstances I'm going to lay out is similar to what Memphis's record is under these set of circumstances. Over the past 2 seasons, Memphis has played 17 games against power conference schools, what we would consider power conference schools in college basketball, and that would be the Power 4, SEC, Big 10, ACC, Big 12, plus the Big East. The 5 power conferences. There are 5 power conferences in basketball, 4 power conferences in football. 5 in basketball, the Power 4, plus the Big East. Over the past 2 seasons, Memphis has played 17 games against schools like that. The record's 13-4. Memphis is 13-4 the past 2 seasons against power conference teams. Meantime, in that same span of time, Memphis is 14-9 in games against AAC opponents. The power conferences are way better than the AAC.
Mm-hmm.
And yet Memphis's record against power conference opponents over the past 2 years is way better than it is against AAC opponents. That's a mental thing. That's a focus thing.
I think you're right.
That's an approach thing. And so that is something that, on one hand, I can say I side with Penny Hardaway here. I'm not worried yet. But on the other hand, this is something that Penny Hardaway and his staff need to address and have to figure out, because that makes no sense. That would be like if you were looking at an NBA team and they beat all the best teams and then lost to all the bad teams. That's what Memphis is doing. They're beating the Celtics and the Thunder and the Cavs, and then turning right around and losing to the Nets. Right? I mean, that's what's happening. And so, like, 13-4 against power conference teams, 14-9 against AAC teams the past 2 years. That is a weird record. I hope we don't have to keep updating that in a negative way, because if we do, then we'll be having all the same conversations we were having throughout the end of January and February and early March last season. I'm not worried yet. I agree with Penny Hardaway, but let's circle back on Monday and see where we're at.
Number 2.
If you're wondering why it looks like I ain't slept much, it's because I hadn't. And among the reasons why is because we were in studio till 2 a.m. last night. And that's because we had Gonzaga and Oregon State on air, CBS Sports Network. It didn't even tip till 11:10 Eastern. Then it went to overtime. Then we had a 30-minute post-game show. As I said on air, at my age, I don't ever look forward to staying up till 2 a.m. anymore. That ain't something I'm trying to do. But if you got to do it, if the night calls for it, you like to do it with the Zags, specifically with the Zags in a competitive game, true road environment like we had last night. Final score, Oregon State 97, Gonzaga 89. And I'm not just mentioning this game because, I had to stay up and watch it last night and then didn't get in bed till around 5:30 this morning. I mentioned this game because, Bennett, I don't know if you were able to set your eyeballs on it, but if you did, I wonder if there was even a part of you that said, ooh, buddy, that could be Memphis's future. What I'm watching right now at Gill Coliseum in Corvallis, Oregon, that looks like a real hostile basketball environment. This looks like a real high-level college basketball game. If my Tigers ever wanted to, they could be in a new league with those schools. They could play basketball with those schools. They could join the new Pac-12 because that thought popped into my head, and it was popping into Oregon State and Gonzaga fans' head because they was tweeting me talking about it. Where was your head?
On a pillow.
I wish my head was on a pillow, too, man. I was tired.
Yeah, my head was on a pillow. Sorry. No, I mean, yes, I want all of that. I don't care. I do want all of that. Because you know what Gonzaga's not talking about today? What you just said, their season potentially being wrecked because of a road conference loss to a non-ranked team. Like, these things aren't really equal, right?
Nobody is asking if Mark Few lost his program last night in Corvallis.
That's right. That's right.
They're just saying, man, that was a fun college basketball game. The building was popping, big-time shot making, CBS Sports Network. That's what people are saying today. But with Memphis, it's like, oh my God, you lost to an Owl again. You're really 2-3 against Owls. You're really 2-3 against Owls the past 2 years. No, in all seriousness, I've never tried to claim that the new Pac-12 is going to be the SEC. But find me a game on Memphis's schedule that's going to look like Gonzaga at Oregon State looked last night. Forget the quality of the game. Once they throw the ball up in the air, basketball is just basketball, right? I can't promise you anything's ever going to be good, all right? I'm just talking about what it looked like, what it sounded like, what it felt like. Name the game on Memphis' schedule that's going to look or sound or feel like that. It doesn't exist. And you ready? If you're Gonzaga and Oregon State, you're going to get to do that again later on this month at the Kennel. So there's 2 games on your schedule in this new league that annually are going to look like that. That's 2 more than Memphis has right now. That's 2 more than Memphis is probably going to have in most seasons in the AAC. And that doesn't even bring in all of the other schools we're talking about. Utah State, ranked in the top 25 right now. Did you see their last home game? That's one of the great college basketball environments in the country. So you get 2 of those too. All right. Now we're up to 4 games that look the way you want them to look, right? So if you're Memphis and you're in this new league, what if you can get you 2 games against Gonzaga? There's 2 games that look the way you want them to look, feel the way you want them to look. Get you 2 games against Oregon State. There's 2 games that look the way you want them to look, feel the way you want them to look. Get you 2 games against the Utah State. They look the way you want them to look, feel the way you want them to look. You get you 2 games against the San Diego State. They look the way you want them to look, they feel the way you want them to look. Suddenly you got a real basketball schedule that looks fun, doesn't you?
Yes.
What are we talking about? I did get Oregon State fans last night, tweeting me, wondering sort of where are we at? I have been told that the expectation is for the new Pac-12 to circle back with Memphis at some point. I don't know that it will. I don't know that it will matter. But I was told that just because publicly the Memphis Pac-12 conversation ended when it ended, it doesn't mean that it ended privately. And frankly, the Pac-12, once it gets to a place where it has a great idea of what the media rights deal is going to look like, it would be a lack of due diligence if they didn't circle back with Memphis and just see if there was a conversation to be had. And, I hope that happens. because I don't like Memphis being in the AAC. We've talked about this before. I know that Memphis didn't win the league in football and, has never won the league in basketball. But just in terms of athletic departments and football potential and men's basketball potential, Memphis has no peers, no real peers, or at least very few peers in that league. I guess in football we could argue some of the schools, but in basketball there's no basketball peer. In this new Pac-12, you would have basketball peers, you would have football peers, you would have more games in those two sports that are compelling, that your fans can get excited about. And when I was watching Oregon State Gonzaga last night, at some point, yes, that did pop into my head. While Memphis is messing around with Rice Owls and FAU Owls and Temple Owls, you could, in theory, in a couple years, be playing games that look like that pop like that. I hope one way or another we end up there. As always, we'll see.
Number 3.
Details for the Fire Aid concert that we talked to you about earlier in the week are starting to emerge. It's gotten so big now, Bennett. One night, 2 buildings in Los Angeles. One concert happening at the Intuit Dome. That's the Clippers' new building. The other one happening at the Kia Forum. That's the refurbished concert venue. Among the performers, you ready for this list?
Let's go.
Billie Eilish. That makes sense. She's an LA girl.
Yep.
Lady Gaga.
Yeah, it's big.
Stevie Nicks.
Yep, legend.
Joni Mitchell, Katy Perry. Those are among the women set to perform. Chili Peppers involved. Jelly Roll gonna be there. Lil Baby gonna perform. I need to fact check this. I'm just gonna assume first time ever Stevie Nicks and Lil Baby have performed at the same concert.
I would think so. That's their first time. I hope that'd be cool if they did like a collab, maybe for a song or two.
It might be the first time, but I sure as hell hope it's not the last.
Right. Same.
You fired up for Fire Aid? I guess that's probably not the way to put it.
No. I mean, am I fired up? Like, yeah. Can I watch it? Is it going to be streamed? I'll watch it.
It's going to be streaming. They'll be taking donations. It's expected to raise millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars as we try to get Southern California back to a place where it doesn't look like a war happened there.
So I'm assuming maybe you pay to get the stream and then the money goes to that. That would make sense. That would make the most sense if you're trying to maximize this thing. You pay for the stream, the money goes to the.
Or, and I've never run a benefit concert, so I don't know. But would it be more beneficial, since you run a benefit concert, you'd be trying to look for things that are beneficial? Would it be more beneficial to stream it for free so you get a large audience, the biggest audience you can
just
get?
Put a little link right there.
And then just be begging people the whole time to give money, as opposed to tell people you can't even look at this without giving us money, because you know what some people might do then? They might say, well, I'm just not even going to get involved.
I'm just not going to look at it. You know what? You know what?
Yeah, did I spend most of my life dreaming about the day Lil Baby and Stevie Nicks would be at a concert together? Yes. And is it here now? Yes. But if you're going to make me pay before I can even look at it, I'm just not going to get involved. I'll do something else. But if you say, hey, everybody, this is free. Here's a link. Come hang out. It's Stevie Nicks and Lil Baby and Jelly Roll and Billie Eilish and the Chili Peppers. And then once you get them there and you say, hey, thanks for coming, give me your money. LA's on fire. I think that might be a more beneficial approach.
You know what? If that's the way that they do it, your way, then I'll hop on the stream and I will donate. How about that?
You know what? I'll hop on the stream and I'll donate too.
Yeah. I got friends out there in LA, and that's obviously a great city, and I hope they're able to bounce back from this whole thing. So yeah, I'll jump on.
I'm gonna jump on too. Me and Bennett are gonna be there. It's Fire Aid happening at the Intuit Dome and the Kia Forum. All proceeds benefiting the devastation in Southern California.
Number 4.
Speaking of devastation in Southern California, the Genesis Invitational, a signature event on the PGA Tour, hosted annually by the great Tiger Woods, is moving next month because of the fires in Southern California. I don't know how much you've been following this story, but the fires, they started in Pacific Palisades. That's the origin spot. That's where we kicked this whole party off. Pacific Palisades. Do you know where Riviera Country Club is, Bennett?
I would assume it's in the Pacific Palisades.
Oh, man, it's right there.
Gotcha.
It's right there. Thankfully, the course is undamaged. But everything else is
Right.
a mess in the Palisades. So out of respect for the rebuilding efforts and the tragedy in the Palisades, they will move the Genesis Invitational from Riviera Country Club, and it will snap a long streak connected to that course. It's been featured on the PGA Tour since 1929 and has hosted the Genesis Invitational every year but two since 1972. The only 2 years it didn't was when Riviera Country Club was actually hosting major golf events in those years. So then they didn't host the Genesis Invitational.
Gotcha.
But that's all those streaks are going to get snapped next month. Golf Digest reporting that the event, so we're still going to play the Genesis Invitational. We're just going to take it to a new course. Going to take it likely TPC Scottsdale, which means you'll be watching, maybe not you, Bennett, but like some people, be watching PGA Tour golf 2 straight weeks on the exact same golf course. They'll play the WM Phoenix Open, TPC Scottsdale, February 6th through the 9th, and then they'll just hang tight, stay there, and go back out following Thursday, February 13th to 16th, and play the Genesis Invitational. 2 tournaments back-to-back at TPC Scottsdale. That's the report from Golf Digest, because Southern California, it got burned up a little bit.
Number 5.
Bennett sometimes sends me these stories. I can't even tell if they're real or not.
Mm-hmm. They are real.
But I know I fact-checked it. I looked into it. President-elect Donald Trump, who will be inaugurated early in the week, right?
On Monday, right? In Monday, the inauguration, yeah.
I think Monday's the inauguration. It's a big day in our country, I guess. He says he's going to appoint Mel Gibson, John Vaught, and Sylvester Stallone as ambassadors to Hollywood. He wants to make Hollywood great again. And to do that, I guess the best way to do it is to put old, questionable white men in charge. I don't know. What are we doing?
I believe it's John Voight. Put some respect on his name, please. I know him as John Paul. Gotcha. Oh, by the way, since we're talking about movies in Hollywood, I do want to say rest in peace to the great David Lynch, one of my favorite directors. That was sad to see yesterday. He died at 78 years old. So,
buddy, you ever want to try to be confused? Jump into Mulholland Drive sometime. I know it's great. But man, it made my head hurt one time.
I said this on Twitter last night. Well, the first time I saw that movie, it came out in 2001. And I watched it. I guess I watched it in maybe 2002 because I watched it on DVD. And I thought that it was a different movie. I thought that it was a movie called Mulholland Falls that starred Nick Nolte. That was just about like a crime in Hollywood in the 1950s. And so it was a wild ride. Like I wasn't expecting that. Now I've seen that movie like a million times since then because it's one of my favorites. And I think he's great, man. I'm a big fan of his work. I wasn't like the biggest Twin Peaks fan, but I like Twin Peaks and I respect the hell out of it because like it's insane that show was ever on network television. But I love his movies. Like I'm a big fan of David Lynch's movies. So just wanted to say that. This is hilarious. This is really funny. Okay.
I thought we weren't even allowed to put Mel Gibson in movies anymore.
Here's the thing.
Now we're putting him in charge of stuff.
Okay.
How does that happen? I know how it happened. I know exactly how it happened.
Now, I do want to say this, all right? These three guys have made some great movies. Some of my favorites.
Oh, I thought you were going to say racist remarks.
Well, one of them has. One of them has. I've heard the audio.
These guys have made lots of anti-Semitic remarks. I thought that's what you were going to say.
But like you cannot deny the fact that these guys have made some of the best movies ever. Like that is very true.
My favorite movie ever is the original Rocky.
There you go.
I love Sylvester Stallone.
There you go. And one of my favorite movies ever is The Road Warrior, starring Mel Gibson. I love like Braveheart.
I know your favorite movie ever. Mel Gibson's Traffic Stop.
No, it's not. No, but okay. So here's the thing about this. Like I get like these guys have been, giants in the film industry. I get it. Like again, we talked about their movies. And John Voight too. Like he was in Deliverance, Midnight Cowboy, Heat. Like he's been in great movies.
John Vaught. I got you. John Vaught. Nobody's arguing with you that these men have made huge movies.
Huge movies.
The argument would be tied to What are we appointing them in charge of stuff for?
And none of them have done anything relevant since like the 90s. So that's the weird thing about this. I mean, they're all Donald Trump's buddies, right? I get it. But here's the argument. Here's what he said when he appointed these guys to this position. He said that the idea is to restore the golden age of Hollywood, recover lost business, and revitalize the industry. Here's why he is completely wrong with that statement, okay?
Oh, what? Hold on. Donald Trump's wrong with a statement? What are you talking about?
No, it's just, again, I wanted to give the credit because I acknowledge these guys have made amazing movies in their careers, okay? GP, 44 of the 50 highest grossing movies of all time came out in 2010 or later. So, what are we talking about? Revitalize the industry. Like, the industry is doing well. If the industry is doing bad, it's because of COVID a few years ago, and it's since bounced back since then. So, the whole bring back Hollywood, revitalize the industry, I don't really understand that because it appears Hollywood's doing as good as it's ever done before. So, I don't really get that.
Yeah. Well, Bennett, this is what they call par for the course. Okay, I'm not trying to get political with you.
Yeah.
He's the president-elect. All right. The people. Yeah. The people have spoken. All right. I respect the outcome of presidential elections. The people have spoken. That said, this is a man who, literally, basically daily, says outlandish things that are supported with no truth whatsoever. I don't even say that as a political joke. I just say it as a statement of fact. Almost daily, if not daily, he says something very bold that is tied to nothing factual or very little facts. So this is, as they say, this is what I would call, this is par for the course.
Also, what does it mean? What kind of power do they have? I mentioned David Lynch. Could you imagine Mel Gibson walking on a David Lynch set and being like, "Hey, we're not really liking the direction this thing's going. We want to make some rewrites on this script and everything." I mean, come on. Get the F out of here.
Let me answer your question and then we'll move on. I think your question was, what does this mean? What power do they have? Now, I've read about this for 4 minutes.
Yeah, I got you.
So it's possible I'm speaking out of turn. But my best attempt to answer your question, what does this mean? What power will they have? My answer would be, it will mean nothing, and they will have no power.
Right.
That's what it'll mean.
Yeah.
It will mean absolutely nothing, and they will have no power.
Yeah,
it'll just be something that we talked about on January 17th, and we will probably never talk about it again because it'll probably never go any further than this.
I think that's probably true. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. Got that settled. Be back with GP's carryout.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GBWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better.
It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. I'm in New York City for now. But I'm headed to the airport. I'm looking forward to being back in Shelby County soon.
How long are you going to be back?
2 days.
Oh, my God. Dang, dude.
2 days.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah. But, hey, it's you know what? There are times when it does feel tough.
Yeah.
Today is one of those times. But it's never lost to me. I'm lucky. Look at this. You know? Look at this. Look at it around here. You know?
It's pretty cool.
I'm lucky to get to do what I do. But, you know, I ain't used to staying up till 5:30 in the morning too often, and I've done it twice this week.
Yeah.
I've done it twice this week. And not for the reasons I used to stay up till 5:30 in the morning. Totally different reasons now. Whew.
Yeah.
All right. I got a good nap on the plane coming, though. I'm okay. Let's wrap this up with GP's Carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
Whole bunch of stuff in the opening hour, mostly focused on your Memphis Grizzlies. Round 2 with the Spurs tonight down in San Antonio. Hopefully, we get another Ja Morant, Victor Wembanyama interaction, but that is a little bit in doubt because on the status report tweeted at 5:01 Central on Thursday, Ja Morant was at the top of it under the word questionable. His right foot is sore. Bennett and I and Jessica Benson are all in agreement. I'll be surprised if he's not on the court tonight. I don't doubt that his foot is sore, but it's an 8:30 tip on ESPN.
Yeah.
2 nights after you were the biggest story in sports. This is a big stage. I'd like to see you on it. I think you'll be on it. Grizz Spurs tonight, 8:30. Can't wait.
What's today's biggest game?
Can I interest you in some Big Ten basketball?
Sure.
7 o'clock on Fox, Columbus, Ohio. It's the Indiana Hoosiers at Ohio State. Indiana, preseason top 20, struggling. 4-3 in the Big Ten. Ohio State minus 7.5. Totals 148.5. Congrats on your win last night, Bennett. I don't ever want to be that guy just pointing out your losses and never highlighting your wins. You got a win last night. That improved your record. Still not a great record, but it's better than it was yesterday. Tonight, Ohio State minus 7.5. How you going to act?
Man, but Ohio State's not very good.
That's an accurate assessment.
It's 2 teams that have lost 2 in a row. I'll just say Indiana's fighting for their lives on the road tonight, and I'll say it's a competitive game, and Indiana covers.
Bennett says Ohio State might win at home, but Indiana, that's too big of a number. Give him the 7.5 points. Again, tips at 7 o'clock. It's taking the place of where SmackDown used to be. It's on Fox tonight, 7 p.m. tip.
What are we watching on TV?
I mean, it's SmackDown tonight. It's on USA Network.
Yes, sir.
3-hour edition. Expected return of Solo Sikoa. The former fraudulent tribal chief is expected to make his return. And I don't know if you heard what the streets are saying. Can I tell you what the streets are saying?
What's up?
Jacob Fatu has loved Solo for a while now. I love you, Solo. First off, it's hilarious when he does that.
I know. I love
it. I love when Jacob Fatu goes, I love you, Solo. That's my favorite thing that happens now. That's my favorite thing. the streets are saying he might not love Solo anymore. That Jacob Fatu only respects people who identify as tribal chiefs, and it's much more difficult for Solo to do that after he was pinned by the original tribal chief / only tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
You know what? I think you're right. I think some respect was lost. I think some respect was lost. Yeah. I think Jacob Fatu saw what happened to Solo, and I think he thought to himself, I don't look at that guy the same way.
Because sometimes you don't, Bennett. You ever been through something with somebody, and after you've been through it with somebody, there's just one thing, man, and you can't ever get past it. You just don't see them the same way anymore. You got that experience, I know.
But you know what? I wonder if Jacob Fatu's thinking a little differently than what you said. I wonder if Jacob Fatu's thinking maybe, what's that thing called? The
Ulafala?
I wonder if Jacob Fatu's starting to think maybe that Ulafala needs to go around his neck.
Well, that's everybody's head gets there at some point, Bennett.
That's what I'm thinking.
We've talked about this before. Everybody's head gets there at some point. One day you're just happy to be standing next to the Ulafala, but eventually you're going to want to be the Ulafala guy.
Yeah.
It happens to most people.
That's what's happening.
I wouldn't be surprised if it happens to Jacob Fatu at some point. SmackDown tonight, 7 o'clock, USA Network. I'll be tuned in.
What's the best thing we've read?
Top 25 and 1 has published over at CBSSports.com. I wrote about all 3 ranked teams that lost on the road to unranked teams last night, Memphis included. So if you want to revisit some of those weird Memphis numbers I gave you earlier in the show, you can find that CBSSports.com.
What's on tap next week?
Well, Monday's big. Monday's a big day.
Yes, it is.
Monday's a big day. Can't wait to be back in studio. MLK Day. Amari Stoudemire is expected to join me in studio. So I'm fired up. Are you fired up?
I'm fired up, man. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to get back in town. As long as I don't hit traffic, I should be able to make the flight. Fingers crossed. Enjoy your weekend. I'm going to enjoy mine. We're going to meet back Monday at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.